What's going on there, folks? Good evening. It's the Earthmaster back here on this Thursday night, February 9th, 2023. It is about 9:33 p.m. here along the west coast in California, and the latest earthquake activity shows a 2.5 in the area of Texas. Also some activity ramping up around Turkey area again, where we just had originally had a 5.3 came into the area of Turkey. That got downgraded to a looks like a 4.9 central Turkey area. Still seeing some movement out here over the last 24 hours. Again, this is 4.0 and above. A lot more smaller quakes out there listed, but still shaking out there as folks attempt to recover from those damaging earthquakes a few days ago. Also getting some activity back building here in the eastern Afghanistan region with a 4.2 coming in to that area, 209 kilometers deep. A little bit of adjustment out here into the mid-Indian Ridge, divergent boundary, 4.7 in the Carlsberg Ridge area. That was about earlier this morning, it looks like. And let's see what else we got. Some movement across the Philippines north of Manila. Seen a 4.9 earlier this evening as well. A little bit of movement stretching across the Papua New Guinea area, Solomon Islands. And up here, right in the middle of the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, we got one earthquake coming in within the last hour, a 4.4, 105 kilometers deep. All right, down here along the Kermadec Trench, things kicking up as well. Some deeper movement south of Tonga into the northern end here, just north of the Kermadec Islands. 4.9, the latest quake there. USGS not showing a whole lot of earthquake activity across the New Zealand area, so let's go ahead and check out the GeoNet servers here real quick before we move on and see what's going on out there in New Zealand currently. Looks like the last one was a 2.7. Couple twos there. Let's go over here to the all magnitudes and see what we have. Doesn't look like any major movement, just typical smaller quakes. North Island, New Zealand there, pretty deep earthquake, 147 kilometers deep for that 2.8 about 2 hours ago. Most of the activity right now looks like it is situated up into the North Island area, a little bit down along the Alpine Fault as well with that 2.5, just north of Mount Cook, South Island area. And a little bit of movement, but overall general seismic activity appears to be light within that region for now. Down here in the South Sandwich Islands, getting in on some activity. 2 5-pointers over the last 24 hours. One looks like just earlier this afternoon, 10 kilometers deep. Of course, we did see some deeper movement here, about 35 kilometers deep. 1 o'clock this morning. That was subsequently followed up by some shallower earthquake activity many hours later down there in that region. South America, not a whole lot popping off here currently. Looking at the EMSC globe here, shows relatively minor activity, it looks like. Some 2s and 3s down there around the Peru-Chile Trench area. All right, scooting up here to the north, the west coast has actually been pretty active here today. And also areas around the New Madrid zone where we've seen a 3.0 coming in earlier this evening. I don't recall the last time we've seen a 3-pointer, but that is basically right smack dab in the center here of the New Madrid seismic zone. The U.S. hazard map gives us that fault system out here. The most hazards there in the red. And on this side of the screen, it kind of looks like a brown or I guess that's the best I can describe it. Either way, you can see the darker color here indicated by the this color, the fault system right here, the New Madrid seismic zone. Seen that 3.0 earlier this morning. I do want to pull up some activity here over the last 30 days in this region. Kind of curious to see when the last time we had a 3-pointer out here. I don't believe it's been over the last 30 days. We did see a 2.7. But I have to say it's been a little while. Let me look here real quick, folks. I just want to do 3.0 and above. Just want to go back here over the last year and see what's going on out there in the New Madrid seismic zone. It has been showing a little bit of activity here recently. And of course, that is a major hazard there across the region of many different states in this area. All right, so let's bring this up right about here and scoot over here a little bit. Let's see where we're at. That, yeah, that should cover it. All right, let's see what we have here over the last year as far as seismic activity goes. 3.0. Looks like there was a couple threes last year out there around the Missouri area and within the vicinity of today's three-pointer. A couple low-grade three-pointers. 3.2 looks to be the maximum there over the last year. But overall, definitely, I've been noticing a trend of activity there, and more so down south here into Texas. Again, that activity does tend to work its way along this area. Let's see here what we got. Movement across the Texas area today, kicking up. Got about 7 earthquakes outside of the Pecos, Texas area. 2.5 the latest here at 5 kilometers deep. And also up here outside of Snyder, Texas, getting in on a little bit of swarming. This is, let's see what we got out here. Kind of hard to tell here on this map. Most of the time I'm looking for, looks like there's some type of maybe oil pumping operations down there. There's definitely some further west. I don't see anything listed up on the map here. There's a Claytonville oil fields, a couple other oil fields within the vicinity, so a good chance that those are some earthquakes related to that those operations out there today. I got 2 of them kicking off here in the last hour. Upper 2s out there about down below the surface, 7 to 8 kilometers deep. Not a huge swarm, but still some noticeable activity here across the Texas area, stretching up into the New Madrid seismic zone. All right, Northern California did have a little bit of activity. This earthquake here outside of the Palo Cedro area, north of just outside of Redding, I should say, to the southeast. 2.6, 30 kilometers deep. That is going to be a deep one below the surface there. We did have another one early this morning, 2.8 at 20 kilometers deep, associated with the Cascadia subduction zone. Quick glance here at the tremor map tonight. Let me bring this up. Hopefully we're working. Tremor working? Yes, maybe so. That's very slow. It shouldn't take that long. Let's get rid of that one, and we'll try... that was weird. Very weird. Activity down into southern Oregon, southern end of the Cascadia, and a little bit of activity up here in Washington as well, for a total tally of 82 epicenters of tremor along the Cascadia today. All right, movement outside the Bay Area, north of, looks like north of Napa. The Clear Lake volcanic field continues to be active there with the Calpine hydrothermal operations, and we did have some activity early this morning around the Coalinga area. A couple 2s, even a 3.3 there in the mix, but that has halted since about 3:30 in the morning. Movement across Ridgecrest. We got 1 earthquake here in the last hour, 0.9, a very small earthquake, just north of the Garlock Fault shear zone. In Southern California, not seeing any major swarms, just looks like average activity there across the San Jacinto Fault zone. And activity across the Great Basin in Utah, very minimal. Up into Yellowstone area, looks like they're not showing too many earthquakes up there. So let's see what we got for reported data, or at least the recorded data, I should say here. Things look like they're kind of looks like they're tapering off over here a little bit near the Maple Creek area. There's a handful of smaller quakes, but for the most part, this Yellowstone swarm looks like it's came in, or it's leaving just about as quick as it came in here. So nothing major popping off here currently at Yellowstone. Alaska region, roughly about the same. I'm not seeing any unusual changes up there across the Alaska area, and on the Big Island, things as they are. Continuing there around the Kilauea volcano with the eruptive activity confined to the crater, and a little bit of activity off the coast here, Pahala, towards the Loihi Seamount, but overall no major changes to take note of into the area of the Big Island. Let me go over here to the EMSC model here real quick and show you guys some of the smaller quakes across the area of Turkey. That's definitely still been ramping up. The EMSC looks like they held that 5.0 threshold there. Originally, I think it came in as a 5.3, so a little bit of downgrade from them. Not quite as much as the USGS did, but still, as you can see listed up here on the map, things are still rocking and rolling. And getting a little bit of further eastward movement here towards the, let's see here where we're at. Up around this area here. More so on eastern Turkey area. It looks like it's kind of coming up towards this plate boundary. And of course, much further east around Afghanistan, things picking up a little bit. All right, space weather moving on here real quick. Space weather, as you can see, very active. The solar flux index here has jumped up again to the 215 category, 215 level. That's due to the very active Earth-facing side of the sun with numerous active sunspots. 3213 still does pose a little bit of harbor or some potential for some strong flares. And look at this massive new sunspot coming around here at the southeastern limb. That thing is ginormous. And, you know, you can kind of compare, say, for example, this sunspot over here along with this one. They look both ginormous in size. But this one here doesn't look like it's got a bunch of complex magnetic structure in it, such as this one. This one has a whole bunch of different colors and looking pretty complex there in that sunspot. Massive. 3217 is that number. We're going to want to watch that one here as it comes around and faces the Earth a little bit more squarely. But for now, we do have 3214, 3213 popping off. Some flares over the last 24 hours. Current flare threat, 75% chance for an M flare, 15% for an X flare, and 99% chance for a C flare. We did have an M flare kick off here a couple hours ago. It looks like we're peeking out another one right now. That was a pretty strong M flare. There's been a number of M flares over the last couple days, and most of them have been popping off from this sunspot up here. Looks like that's starting to, kind of looks like that's where we're getting another flare currently coming from. Look at these arcs here between these, the magnetic fields. That's absolutely crazy. Gonna watch this here. I know it's starting to turn away from the Earth towards the northwestern limb of the sun, but still within position potentially here to give Earth a good view of a strong flare should it decide to do that. 3213 currently harbors at Beta Delta class. And I know this one over here, the newer sunspot, massive 13217 harbors a decent structure as well. Although it's not really showing it on here. It just shows a beta class. But I'm seeing a lot more structure in that than a beta class. But okay, let's see what else. No major expected solar aurora activity here over the next couple nights, unless we get some subsequent CMEs from these sunspots and solar flares here in the coming hours and days. We'll continue to watch that. All right, folks, I'm going to jump off here. We'll cover the cyclone there for the New Zealand area tomorrow. I got a few things I got to get caught up on here before I get too late in the evening. I've been jammed with schoolwork and whatnot. Just it's been a crazy semester here on this end. A lot busier than the fall semester. I don't know why, but it could be the classes that I'm taking. Either way, got to get focused on that, and we'll be back here tomorrow. Stay safe out there. Have a good night, and best thing to do, folks, in these uncertain times is always be prepared. Got to be prepared, right? The best you can. We'll catch you guys tomorrow sometime. Have a good one.